Wholeness. Ah, oh, happy Wednesday. Merry full moon to everybody who made it through. My full moon yesterday was, it was eventful. It was eventful. Um, oh man, I've mentioned in the last few of my videos that my life is just kind of like a roller coaster, just or better yet, I guess the true sentiment would be okay, I'm like in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of like a sea storm, right? Okay, where you don't want to be, and like dark clouds, angry, raging waves, and I'm like submerged, okay, and I'm like in the water, and I come back up for air finally after almost drowning. I'm like, and as soon as I take that one big breath in or out, I am pummeled by yet more water, and that's how it was yesterday. I'm in good health now. My car's good. She's Gucci. Um, that's a slang term for good, I guess. I don't know. She's great. Job's great. School's great. Everything's good. Okay, nothing has fallen apart. When things do feel like it's just falling apart and completely out of my control, I try my best to put things and keep things into perspective. My dad always had this saying that there's always someone who wants to be exactly where you are. Always. There's always someone who wants to be exactly where you are. And I caught myself saying that to one of my students today, because in today's school, in today's education, classroom culture is different. It is a different world. You're facing kids and I will say the youth, that demand your respect and trust first. Like they want you to trust them first and respect them first. It's a complete like flip, like 180. And so there's like these conflicting cultures, right? You have the old school way of classroom management, classroom teaching, and pedagogy, and all that other stuff. And then you have this new way, this new wave coming through. And I saw that today, just clash, right? And usually it's always you're raised with respecting your elders first. Why? Because they've been on the planet longer. They know they've lived the years you haven't yet. Thus, you give them their due respect. You do not have to agree with them. You do not have to like them. You do not have to love them, but you must give some form of respect because they have been on the planet a lot longer. And I always say that my counter argument is they've just been here a lot longer to screw up more, right? Like, have you learned the lessons that life has taught you since you've been here on the planet more? And sometimes most of the time, most adults are still facing the same challenges that they've been facing for decades, right? They just know how the better way to manage through those hard lessons they haven't learned yet when it comes to teaching the youth. So yeah, there's conflict in my classrooms. It's to be expected. It truly is. It's to be expected. The Western world is moving and shifting in ways that have we can't gauge right now because we're so caught up in the digital age and how convenient the digital age has made our lives personally and professionally. We're blown away by our tablets and our screens and our phones and our iPads and our Bluetooth and our platforms. Like we're just in awe of it. We're addicted to it. We are being transformed on a deep subconscious psychological level we cannot measure now. But I feel it. I see it in the classrooms. I see it in my culture, in my race, in the political arena. I see it everywhere. And so yeah, I had a good day. It was a decent day. It was a better day than yesterday. It was a better day than yesterday. I feel like I was productive. After I make this video, I'm going to hit the books. It never stops. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. You know, like you gotta. I'm psychologically, I'm going to be the best surfer that there is because you just gotta ride the wave. You gotta ride the wave. And when that big wave, what they call a big kahuna or whatever, never been to Hawaii. Okay, so don't. I'm sorry if I messed that up. You know, when that big wave comes, pow, and you're like, ah, you know, and you're tumbling in the water, in the sea. Just trust that there will be a time, okay, where you'll come up for air and things will get better and clear. And then that next wave will come and you just get better at managing things, right? And that's what I'm learning. The death of my perfectionism. I'm not going to say death per se. I'm not trying to kill my perfectionism. It's not that I'm lazy. It's not that I'm lazy. It's more of the challenge right now for me is to not look at the end result, right? It's more of managing priorities is what I'm needing to perfect. Because coming from a musician in the art world, you have to be a master of your craft. You know, I spent hours studying arias and rehearsals after rehearsal after rehearsal after rehearsal. I peaked in my 20s in college. Yes, I did. I stopped there because I had no direction after undergrad. I had no direction afterwards. I'm like, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I find a job? You know, as a professional singer, what next? And there wasn't a what next. So I trusted and I allowed my path to unfold before me. And here I am, right? And I've always been an advocate for education, always and forever will I be. But one of my flaws is perfectionism, and I think is a way for me to control, right? I think it's way deeper, and it comes from a place, I think an innocent place, probably a hurt and wounded place, where it at times has hindered me, you know, especially on an academic level. I've always been like, my professors in undergrad were hardcore. They really, really pushed me to become a better writer. I was a shitty writer. I mean, you couldn't get, I double majored in French, so that's like college level French, mastering the language of the French, right, of French. And so I had to write, you know, at the beginning, you start off writing a 10-page term paper on a French book you read, and then by the end, you're writing in a 10-page paper in French. And, you know, and so that's like, I couldn't BS my papers. I didn't have those type of professors that would just let stuff slide. It was different. It was a different type of training, you know, than 15 years ago, 16, 18 years ago, right? Being young, and probably not as prepared as I should have been for college, but I still pulled through, right? But yeah, perfectionism. Let's talk about it a little bit. That's one of my character flaws. You know, it's oddly, I'm trying to place my perfectionism in a space and in an arena where you can't do that. You cannot try to perfect every case. You can't perfect every relationship. You can't perfect every end result. Things are just going to unravel how they unravel. And the only thing I can perfect is how I manage it all, how I keep it organized, and how I keep track of everything. That's it. And that's what I'm learning how to do. I've dibble-dabbled in this type of thing when starting out as a teacher, and when I worked as a project and event specialist / manager, because manager was MIA at the time, you know, for part of the time. And, you know, I worked in a library for that, and that was introduced me into the world of how to manage things. And so I had a wonderful conversation with one of my professors that I've taken an online course with, and it was just kind of like a reality check, right? And she kind of explained the nature of graduate studies, the nature of getting your doctorates, and how it's not about the grade, it's not about the point or the points or getting an A+ on a paper. It truly is about the meat of what you're learning and how you're applying it to your real life hands-on experience in the classroom. And that's what I needed to hear. I needed somebody to say it, because weeks on end, week after week, they're throwing like, boom, here's a whole new course that you're going to have to find time to study for on top of your graduate studies. Oh, boom, here you go. Here are legal documents that you are solely responsible for that could be used in the court of law. Good luck, and ask for help when you need it. And then my personal things, which I mentioned before, I'm moving and all that other stuff. And so I'm like, and then I had a slight incident that took place yesterday that kind of threw me off a bit. And I'll have to say this. They didn't let me drown yesterday. They could have. They didn't. And I really thank my team. I call them a team. They may not look to me as a teammate, but I have such a collaborative nature about myself that, I approach them. I'm learning. I'm trying to teach myself to be more collaborative with people. Because it's hard for me. Perfectionists don't like to ask for help. We want to be competent, willful, determined, ambitious, and we don't want to call on anybody for help. But I'm realizing how perfectionism can really throw you off. You can't get locked into one thing and let all the other things fall off. That's not what this job is asking me to do. And so I'm learning always, all the time. This is going to be another random video because I'm in a transitional period in my life, okay? Like, I want to get back on topics about consciousness and spirituality and feelings and emotions and the human experience and all this other stuff. I really, really do. I will get there, but I also want to be human too, and I want to be slightly transparent. I'm not going to put all my business up here, okay? That's just, it's weird. You have to have some form of, really centered in who you are to be at that level, I think, to share like everything about your relationships, your money, where you live. I'm always shocked at the amount of how much people share about just their living situation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they have like the drones, and they do like a whole what do they call that? Like, they take the drone out and they do an aerial shot of all their property, their land, exactly where they live. And who knows, they could have a completely different address, but still, it's so, so unsettling, but also really cool, and I admire it because it's such a human thing to want to connect with other people. And the more transparent you are with yourself, about yourself, the more people will be attracted to that. I, for one, it's like, I've seen enough of life to kind of not be that open, right? I've seen a lot. Sometimes I've seen too much, and so I really commend and admire people who use platforms to share the inner workings of their mind, their deepest, darkest fears with complete strangers. That takes a lot of courage, a lot of confidence, and you know yourself well. I too am the same way. I would say I'm confident and I have courage, but I also want to protect myself, right? It's crazy out in these streets. It's crazy out in these streets. People can get really weird, okay? But I admire the engagement from you all, and just, share with me what issues you guys are kind of facing within yourself as far as perfectionism. Are you kind of like on that spectrum of complete and utter like laziness, or are you on like the way other end where you are like striving for perfectionism and then things don't turn out right? And when I say perfectionism, like, my apartment isn't the cleanest, most organized, most like put together and all that other stuff. I've always been very minimalistic, um, but I'm not like lazy either. Like it looks, I don't know. My life has changed since living a prior relationship where I was cohabitating with someone, and so it takes a while to like get that energy, to separate that energy out of your space. It does take me a while. I don't know what my next place will look like, if I'll retort back to my monk like ways of living, or it will become more lived in and more comfortable and become my sanctuary, because I work in such a kind of a high stress environment, and a lot of things, like a lot of mental stuff. Like my last position at the hospital dealt with the physicality. Like I had to lift 300, 400, 500 pound people. I had to stand on my feet for literally 12 hours straight, days in a row. That's draining on my body. My body is like, F you, like, my body is like, don't do this to me. You're pushing 40. Ah, like, and so I listened to that and I got out of there. Listen, I like to be in shape. I want to get in shape and be in the best shape possible for a 35, plus woman. But I strive more and do better in the arena of the intellectual. That's where I shine. That's where I grow the most, So I don't regret the past or anything like that, but it's all about balance. That's the key. It's about management and managing my energy. That is what like I'm learning, managing my life. What does that look like? Because I always, and maybe it's my scorpionic energy, okay? And I take astrology like, there's truth in everything, and then there's falsehoods in everything, okay? And there's some truths, when it comes to astrology and the characteristics and all that other stuff. But it's not all of the truth. So I'm very careful with it. But there are some things about it that I find that resonates with me. Like Scorpios, we can be very intense. We can be very just one side or the other. Like you give your all, you give nothing. And that I need to look at that. I need to look at the power of balance in my life. There's a time for self-love and self-care. There's a time to be active. There's a time to really bite into a project. There's a time to just bite it off a little. Like I put my creative life to rest, but I don't want that to mean that I never touch my guitar. I looked over because my guitar is out, and now it's packed up. But it's like I don't want to stop drawing. I think it's just biting off just a little. Not, like it's almost like you're peeking in a closet, wanting to wear your favorite dress, wanting to wear your favorite suit, your favorite pair of shoes, your favorite hat, and you're just waiting for that time to wear it. But sometimes you got to go into that closet and pick that favorite thing on, and even though no one's going to see you wear it, just put it on your head, put on that dress for just a couple of minutes, and then hang it up. That's what I'm finding that I need is true balance and management of energy, not just and that means how much energy do I put into my studies? How much energy do I put in my cases, my caseload? How much energy do I put in my professional development? How much energy do I give my friends, like my friends and family? In a couple of weeks, I'm expected to be there. Their birthday's coming up. There's a wedding that's coming up there. It's just like how much am I going to give other people? How much of it am I going to leave for myself? And I wanted to share that. I wanted this video to be a little bit more personal than just my philosophical, ideations and analytical, critical mindset. This is a real thing for me I'm facing right now, given that I am literally juggling so much all at the same time. And I feel like the professors, I met the director of, I think this is her title, the director of special education in the whole district. That's kind of a big deal. Because I didn't know what I mean. I knew like online education's different. I very much prefer in person. That's how you get a real good feel with the people that you're learning from. Like it's different. I loved being around my very intimidating professors in undergrad. I really did. I really respected them. I put them on a pedestal, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I did. And I'll say like, you know, she made it, she humanized the whole situation to the point where I'm like, that's exactly what I needed to hear, you know, because yesterday, I'm not going to get into it, but I was in a lot of physical pain, and there was a lot of that need to get done yesterday that I will say this. I will say this. I'm going to get off of here. When you don't give your body an adequate amount of space and energy to rejuvenate, the universe, your higher self, will speak to your lower self. Your higher nature will speak to your lower nature and will sit you down by force. That's what happened yesterday. That's what happened. I feel like I'm always humbled. I feel like I'm always like the universe is like not like, you know, Rashida, we got you, boo. We got you. And if you don't listen, we'll make you listen. And that's just been the relationship throughout my entire life. So, yeah. Yeah, that's what happened. And I literally, I'm not going to say I crashed. I'm not going to say I had a nervous breakdown. That wasn't it. That wasn't it. It was something completely physical, out of my control, right? That just thwarted my whole day. And I was, by the time I got home, I didn't open up a textbook. I brushed my teeth. I flossed. Okay. I nibbled on something old. And then I just laid for hours. I think I legit was in bed by like 6 o'clock. No, like 5. No, I came straight home. So it was like maybe 4:45, 4:30. That's early for me coming home. And I crashed. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't a comfortable crash. I was in a lot of physical pain, but I had the best sleep in a long time. And because my weekends are usually full of a lot of anxiety because I have things that are due on the weekends. When they don't get done during the week, then I'm facing a whole wall of anxiety of getting the things done that need to be done because they're due on the weekend. Then by Sunday, when I turn in those things, then I have anxiety for the things I didn't get done during the week that I should have gotten done before the weekend. Like it's like this cycle, and I'm finally understanding how to manage that better. But last night, and so my sleep has been off for about a year and a half. No joke. I've had issues with that. And I think it's a combination of certain things, but that I don't feel like I need to get into. But it will get better. It definitely will get better. The more I learn to manage my energy, my personal energy as a projector, for those of you who are into human design, whoop, whoop, like I said, like astrology, there are truths and there are falsehoods, okay, in many of the energy blueprint systems, okay. I call them blueprint. They're maps. They're energy maps that can help you. My computer needs to be charged. I will charge her. Excuse me. But yes, projectors, we make great advisors. We make great, I wouldn't say CEOs, but projectors are, they'll tell you what you need to know, when you need to know it, how you need to know it, why you need to know it. Think of us as like Littlefinger in the Game of Thrones, but less evil. Like we're not evil, right? Right? We are the advisor of a king and queen or emperor empress. We are the one really moving behind the curtains. We're not in front, right? We're not representing anything. We're the ones in the boardroom. We're the ones like moving things in silence. Look it up. There's the manifestor generator, manifestor generator, and then projector, and then reflector, I think. And so I am a projector. Manifestors are cool too. They're the ones that build shit and get things done. Generators are the ones that build. Like they're obsessed with work, 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 work. Projectors cannot work like that. 9 to 5s are actually pretty detrimental to our health. And that's what I struggle with. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I have to manage my energy better. Given that I work a 9 to 5 job, but I do, right, throughout the chunk of my existence. So I have to manage the energy. And I think that is the message in this video. Managing the energy, my goal, my intention for this full moon is to, even though it's a full moon is like releasing a lot of energy. I will say this upcoming new moon, it's more of perfecting the management of my energy, right? I can't always control the results. I can't always control how things are going to come together. It is biting off, a little bit compared to biting off a lot. There are things we're going to have to bite a whole lot out of, and then there are things we're just going to take a little bit of bites here and there. But to keep it moving, keeping that energy vortex, right, moving. And I don't want to completely drop my music and drop my art. I think those are skills that I want to continue to build on, given that it's the soul, it's the nature of me, right? So yeah, that's what I will place here, is perfectionism, perfecting the management of your energy. That's the message. That's what's coming up right now to share with you all. So please, but comment down below if you want. Look, no pressure. There's no pressure to subscribe. Unsubscribe if you want. Unsubscribe. Nah, no care, right? Like, dislike. I don't care. I would love to know your thoughts though, but there's no pressure for this. I'm not like, come on now. I'm It's really cool when you can make, pay your bills with, a digital income, but to solely just trust that you're going to get, it's a lot of power. If anything, it's a great, like, secondary income or a little thing on the side, but I'm not pressuring you guys. You do what you guys want, but I do really admire the energy that you leave behind in your comments and in your reflections. I really admire that very much. I respect a lot of what you guys say. A lot of the time I have to go back and reread what you wrote because some of you guys have lengthy comments. And I want to, before I respond, I always want to like read through them because they're just as deep as the conversation I share with you all. So thank you so much for that. I really, truly, truly, truly am very grateful for your engagement. And you know what? How about this? Share some topics that you would like to know about me or my personal opinions about things. I don't mind if I deem it inappropriate. Obviously, I'm not gonna answer. I'll let you know if it's not something I want to talk about. But just tell me what you want to know or on my thoughts on certain things, and I can share. I can talk about it. It's not a problem. I hope this message finds you well and whole. I know it's a little bit more of me reflecting on my personal life and like, moving and going to school and teaching and this other stuff. But I hope you get something out of it. wholeness. Remember to expand your consciousness, evolve your human being, and embrace supreme love and guidance. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.